Welcome back again, everyone. Today I'm reviewing the newest cigar from H. Upmann. H. Upmann, part of Altadas. And this is the H. Upmann Legacy. This is the Toro version, 6x52. H. Upmann's changed everything. Look at their band. That's not like you're used to seeing. Comes with two bands actually, one here at the foot also with the word Legacy. This is, let's see here, what's made of. Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and Nicaraguan and Dominican filler. Now the cool thing about this cigar, they don't say which ones, but this is made with tobacco from 2008. For those of you who are math challenged, that's roughly 5 years. Very nice looking cigar, what I would call a medium brown. Nothing too drastic. Now, if you notice, the cigar does have a bump or two here, ridge on it. But, and it's not an oily wrapper. But that's not going to make or break the situation with me. A cigar is all about the taste, primarily. Looks, secondarily. So we're going to get to the H. Upmann Toro, H. Upmann Legacy Toro right now. All right. We will need to remove this band at the foot carefully without disturbing the foot. It's not cooperating. There we go. Now we're free. Legacy. You'll see that later at the end when I wrap up the review. Cigar has a nice feel to it. It actually feels very tight. I hope it has a good draw. We're about to find out. Yep, very good draw. No problem, actually. As you know, I give scores for pepper and scores for what. This is on the firmness score. 10 being a perfect, effortless draw, and 1 being plugged. This would be about a 9. It's just that little bit of something there, but it's not hurting it at all. I told you it felt tightly rolled. And those of you who keep up with this sort of thing will be happy to see I am wearing my red shirt today. Whatever. All right, let's let it settle down just for a second here. Let's see what we have. The first puff or first few draws, you get almost is like a 50-50 split between earth and sweet cedar. It's a little touch of leather there too. The pepper is about a 7. You know, I'm on about the 5th or 6th puff now, and there's quite a bit of earth with leather undertones there. More than the first puff was about 50-50 split with cedar and earth. Now it's tipped a little more into the earth favor. Maybe 55-45 earth. Well, let's let it settle down a minute. But that's how it starts out right away. That's the blast you get, about a 50-50 split of cedar and earth. And, you know, it seems to be going a little more jockeying, a little more earth right now. But I'm going to let it sit and see how it settles down. I'll be right back as soon as I have an update. About a ½ inch in, and the cigar has settled down somewhat. You still have the earth, undertones of leather, sweet cedar. In addition to sweet cedar now, I am getting notes of nutmeg and notes of cherry. There are the cherry notes are very light and sweet and right at the beginning of the cedar. The nutmeg closely follows, and then the cedar sort of explodes and it's very sweet. There's a touch of richness. It's not to the point that I would call it full-blown richness yet, but it's very nice. The finish is a nice, very basic, nice sweet cream. And a touch of lingering pepper. The pepper is about, like I said before, at about a 7, which is a very good, above average amount of pepper. This is unlike any H. Upmann I've ever had. So it's strength-wise, it would be medium-bodied. Shows a sign or two that it may go a little beyond that, so let's wait and see. So right now the H. Upmann Legacy is quite enjoyable. I like the sweet notes. The lingering pepper is very nice. It's actually, as I'm speaking to you, I can feel the lingering pepper. So that's a good sign. So let's come back as soon as we have another change, but that's where we are at the 1/2 inch point. I'm not much further, 3/4 of an inch now, but there is a reason to come back because the richness is starting to develop. The heavy earth tones have really subsided. Actually, they did in the last segment. I failed to mention them, but where it was a 50-50 split between cedar and earth, the earth now is down at a more reasonable 20%. The other flavors far outweigh the earth. There is a touch of leather now, and basically the earth and leather are about the same. It's just at the tail end of the initial spice that you get the earth and leather, and actually it simply adds a nice bottom to the flavors, not an overwhelming amount as it was before. But the same flavors are still there that I talked about in the last segment. As far as your sweet flavors, cedar, cherry, nutmeg, they're just starting to get a little richer now. And that's always good in my book. So at the 3/4 inch point, you have a significant amount of sweetness and richness. And in my opinion, again, that's good. Well, we're pretty much at the midpoint here, as you can see. Cigar is burning fairly evenly. It's a very coarse, thick wrapper too. I noticed that, how it's burning. But the flavors now is pretty much you have now your sweet cedar and cherry combination, and it is still sweet, and there's maybe just a touch of richness, but it's nice and sweet. There are also some very subtle buttery notes to it, which make the cigar nice. And the earth notes are very much decreased, but there are still some very light leather notes around. Another thing I noticed is there's now a nice oak flavor to the cigar. There's some oak notes. Now the finish is still pretty much one of a nice sweet cream, and you're still left with your lingering pepper. Now I would call the cigar medium to full bodied to this point, and it's actually showing signs it may go full bodied, but it's you can those of you who are familiar with the feel that you get from Ligero, I actually at this point can feel the Ligero, so it's very close to going full bodied, which actually surprises me, but that's where we are at about the midpoint. Well folks, we're down to the end, so let's wrap it up. The cigar ended up with your sweet cedar and cherry combination. Very little richness, but the sweetness is definitely a plus. The oak notes are very prominent here in the latter stages, probably from the final third onward. The leather was greatly decreased. The earth notes pretty much really all but subsided. They are very faint, if not gone altogether. But the underlying leather is very little. Just it's detectable, but by far the biggest base flavor are the oak notes. The pepper remained about the same throughout. Finish remained about the same throughout. The cigar here at the end really touched on full-bodied. It is the Ligero is quite obvious. You feel it. It's very close to full-bodied. So I would call it medium to full, but you could probably throw a net over it and say it's full-bodied. The cigar took 1 hour and 45 minutes to get to this point, so it is rather slow burning, so you'll get a nice long smoke out of it. Very enjoyable cigar. For H. Upmann, this is a very much a full-bodied type cigar for them. I commend Altadas and H. Upmann for making a full-bodied, or very close to it, cigar. So, all that being said, I'm giving it a score of 91. Very good cigar. Should be on shop shelves now. So look for them and try it. You will be surprised. This is not your typical H. Upmann. So the H. Upmann Legacy Toro 91.